Hello, and welcome to a short video about railroads in early Dallas County. And actually, I guess they're really the railroads that are left now, too. Well, this one is anyway. Um, so this is, I believe, this is the St. Louis Southwestern when they started it up, and of course, got to be famous. It was the Fordyce on the Cotton Belt and all that. If you're not familiar with that, you might Google it. Um, but this was really important in the development of the county as the years went on. And I'm not sure exactly when this came in. I'm actually surprised that it was here as early as 1895, but here it is. Maybe it was just being planned or being put down then. And these other two here are very interesting. This one's particularly interesting to me because it's called the Ultima Thule, and that's not going to mean anything to anybody except for me. I have a bachelor's degree in Latin and Greek, and that means the end of the ends of the earth, basically. And it was a place. It was even a mythical place to the Romans and the Greeks. And so, anyway, whoever came up with that, it's almost like I don't know. It's almost like that was put there just for me. But I guess they knew where they were. Dallas County being pretty much the ends of the earth, and I don't know if that was a prophecy or what, but there it is, the Ultima Thule, Arkadelphia, Mississippi. And so, what is that all about? They had plans on this heading all the way to Mississippi, and I don't have that for you right now, but I have seen the sort of the route that the owner of this planned out. And if you want to know more about that, I believe the Encyclopedia of Arkansas has some stuff about that. But anyway, I find the towns that are important and the communities that are important here at this time interesting. Of course, Princeton's right here, and notice it hasn't made it to Princeton. They were literally building this out this way. Okay, and this barely comes in. It looks like it hits about where Sparkman is, and this was what was this one called? It was about southwestern Arkansas and Indian Territory. It goes towards Oklahoma. Oh, can't say that town. Oklahoma. Anyway, it heads out towards what at the time would have been Indian Native American country. So anyway, I find that really interesting. And this is very important because Princeton, logically, right, sitting in the center of the county, was the county seat for many, many years in Dallas County, and then it was moved to Fordyce. That was kind of a result of some politics. Well, it was definitely a result of some politics. They built this railroad through there, and so they wanted to have control over things. And they used the people, which it's not even showing. That's about where kind of, I don't know, right in here somewhere. Carthage. They used Carthage, and they kind of split the vote. They had an election over where the capital of Dallas County was going to be moved to, or going to be. Was it going to be Princeton, Carthage, which is again not on this map, and or Carthage, which I don't know how y'all come up with that, but there it is. That's what people say. It's Carthage, and then Fordyce. Um, those three communities were voted on throughout the county to see where it was, and so the the deal was is they basically were able to split the vote that normally would have all gone towards Princeton by putting Carthage in. There's a book about this too. It's like everything in Dallas County history. It's written by somebody with a serious agenda. So take it with a grain of salt. I know a lot of the people that have told me to about the book, and then I started reading it, and I could kind of see what they were saying. So it definitely has but I mean, why would And to this day, the county seat is down in the southeast corner of county. Poor Willow, this place just no one even really knows it exists. The only time I've ever seen anyone interested in Willow was the police went up there and busted some marijuana, and then just drove it back. And that's the last thing I've ever seen about Willow. And they'll tell you the same thing, that this area is really neglected. So oh gosh, Willow's a bizarre. Anyway, most of these little places, Willow was, I was told, was one of these little railroad towns, but it kind of pre-exists some of that. So I think it had more. There was more to it than just the railroad stuff. Anyway, that I find that really interesting. Here's those of y'all that are, my distant relatives or whatnot. Here's our place. Is it's right in here. Here's Ramsey, Stover. If you're on my nut side, most of my nut family is also a Stover, and this is pretty much where Bucksnort is. That's where the Stover post office was. Obviously, Holly Springs in here. Frio, which was named after Frio, I guess Frio Creek, which is really it was the Bio Frio, and that's Frio. And the reason it was named was it was the Cold River. The French named it that. And interesting though that they used a conglomeration of French and Spanish, but they did things like that. Anyway, let's look at this other map, which is pretty much the same thing, but this is just a few years later. This is like 1898. Railroads established all the way through here. Here's Fordyce, etc. And they don't really have. You can tell they kind of here's where that railroad. This was the one that was the Ultima Thule. I don't think it still is. Let's see if Ultima Thule is still on. Oh, it is. Okay, so it's still in existence. So in this one, this is just a few years later. It hasn't died yet. Sorry for all the moving around there. It's actually continued to extend down to a place called Bearhead. I'll have to look into that a little bit. Anyway, this is about the end of it, though. Because that it did not continue after that, and obviously it didn't make it to Princeton, which was kind of had been in part of the plan and everything. So anyway, it ended up basically just being a little spur off from Arkadelphia. I guess this was a way to get timber and whatnot out of the woods, and but it had bigger plans than that, and but it did not make it. This was the main railroad that did. Now, again, for my folks, notice there's Jacinto. It made the big map. And there's Ramsey. Guess what's in between here? What's about right there? Those of y'all that, like your little Eagle Act community, that's where it was. And what is this? That is the tram road, or at least it was headed that way. You can tell, I don't know exactly where. I'd have to get the maps out and stuff and look, but this looks like it was not quite to where the little Owens area is and my aunt lives and whatnot. It hadn't quite made it there, and then of course this ended up going all the way up towards I've seen it come out around Carthage. So this ended up going up, and this was pretty much just for taking timber and things like that out. So anyway, if you're wondering why I'm talking about this, my family had a little store here, and was I've heard that we had something to do with building this thing, but really from my research, the people that built this were a bunch of Mexicans, and we have some of them buried. I was told that some were buried in our cemetery, and then I was told later that they were off on the side of the road. I've seen them there. It's very likely that they're in both places because people died a lot building these things, and so that's what was going on. And so anyway, I hope you find that interesting, and I'll have more of these as time goes by. Thanks, and have a great day.